welcome. I'm happy that all of you are giving me the support on this journey as usual, and want to appreciate each and every one of you who have reached out to me through text, emails, or phone calls. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana. This episode is episode 3. This is where my children separate. This is my second season, episode 3. I call this one separation. This episode is kind of heartbreaking because I'm also used to my daughter, and the thought of them two separating is so difficult to even think of. Like I think I told you on my second episode, my daughter will be joining high school, and this is so hard for my son. And my daughter also is not taking it well. Myself also, because I'm so used to depending on her so very much on everything they need. From signing even my son's diary, from checking on him, like simple things that people take for granted, like checking if he has a fever, if he brushed his tooth, if his shoes are okay, if he's dressed well. I normally depend on my daughter on that one. Well, I have a nanny, yes, but I take my daughter's word all the time. So my daughter, like I told you guys before, she took the role of a mom to the brother. And she tells me she's so worried that she's going to be leaving the brother behind. And one thing, my son made it clear. He will really cry when the sister leaves. My son is like, Mommy, I will cry. I don't think he will make it without her, but I know he has a tough skin. He will make it. Like I said, this is their first longest separation. I don't know myself how I'll cope, because I'm normally on my daughter's neck all the time. I call, whatever. So not being able to talk to her like I've been used to, it's gonna affect me for a minute, because she's always the link, the glue to my small family. And this also, I'm also changing my son to a new school, because my son and my daughter, they've been in the same primary school, and now because my daughter will be joining high school, my dad suggested that my son needed change, and now he's gonna go to a new environment, and I know it's gonna be tough for my son also, because making new friends. So this warranted a lengthy talk, and I made a meeting with my children via video call, and my son is not happy about this at all. So she's against the sister leaving, asking me if my daughter can go to a day school. I said, no, it's expensive for me. Then he said, okay, then let me join her there. I'm saying, no, that's a girls only school. You cannot join it. And you're still in primary, and your sister is going to high school. So the sister assures him he will be fine. And then my daughter goes ahead and tells my son, Granddaddy is here, so nothing to worry about. Then my son pulls that face, has that sad face, and seems like he wants to cry. You can see he has a teary eyes, which he rarely does, because he is strong. My son is pretty strong, and I know him. But he says, I'm scared. What if something happens to you, my sister? I go ahead and I said, God will protect both of you. And he says, okay. And then he wipes away the little tears that were in his eyes. My daughter also was teary, and I sighed, and I told them, both of you are going to be fine. God got you both. So they both look at me. My son is like, again, Mommy, what if somebody goes and takes away my sister? And this is a part of my story that I never shared on my podcast, but is going to be a bonus on the end of my podcast when I'm closing my podcast. The reason why my son is so worried about the sister, an incident happened. There's a chunk of a story I never discussed on this podcast. My kids were taken away from me for months, and I had to fight to take them back. I had to fight. They were taken from school. I had both taken them to a boarding school, and they were forcefully taken by the police officers. And we had a custody battle, me and their father. And it was not a good scene. My son tried to hide, to run away. My daughter begged the teachers to hide her. But there's nothing the school could have done. That's what really made me go deep into depression. And this really affects my son very much. That's why I guess my son is not very close to the father, because he remembers this day vividly like it happened yesterday. This story will be on my new book, and the last episode of this podcast, like I said, how I won the custody of my children and how the judge ruled that they be taken to a children's home. That was the saddest moment for me, and the saddest moment for my children, going to a children's home. So my son is worried. What if the sister gets taken away again? Because he himself says, Mommy, me, I'm very strong. I will fight those officers off. I will fight. I laugh it off. He said, Mommy, I'm serious. They won't take me no more. They will never take me again. But the sister says nothing and says, no, I'm old enough right now. It's not like the way it was that day. I'm old enough, brother. I'm old enough. Then my son goes ahead and says, Mommy, I will cry. I don't want her to leave. I'm like, you have to man up, son. She's just like 50 miles away. She'll be home within no time, at least like the midterm breaks, the breaks they normally do have. You'll get to see her. It's unfortunate the school doesn't have visiting days, but they have the midterm breaks, so I assure my son. And then my daughter turns back to me and tells me, Mommy, I'm really afraid also. I'm like, why? I tell her, you'll be going to one of the best schools in the country. I worked so hard for you to be in that school. So you'll be okay. The school is so nice. There's no bullying and all that. All I need you to do is to just go there and work hard. Then she looks at me with a face just like, I'm just afraid, Mommy. Then she says, how will I be there, Mom? You know, I always feel bad when kids start talking about their parents, their mom, their dad. It takes me to that dark place, Mom. I tell her again, God got you, so no worries. You're a lioness, remember that. Always be strong. Toughen up, Mommy, toughen up. I tell my daughter that. But she tells me, I know they're going to talk about their parents. I tell them, you have something to talk about your mom, you know. You can tell them something about your mom. Then she changes again and she smiles and tells me, Mom, I will work hard and I'll buy you a house and you'll never work again. So I will go there and study hard. I'm like, good, I'm so proud of you. This is a new beginning. This is a new beginning. Then my son laughs and says, I told you, Mommy, I'm going to be a superstar. I'm going to play soccer, be a superstar. I'm going to do wonders for you. Now they start competing what they're going to do for me. Something about these two kids of mine. It's so funny. When I was on video, we were discussing. They were squeezed together in a couch, the single couch. But that's how they are. That's how tight the two are, very, very close to each other. So one request, my daughter requested me and asked me if his father can be there when she's going to school. And I asked my daughter, are you really sure? Then she said, yes, mommy, I'm sure. Then the D-Day comes. The day my daughter is leaving Kenya, my son was not able to go because he also was joining a new school, and my daughter also was leaving the same day. So it was a coincidence. So my son had to go to the same to a new school. So they both talked, hugged. Sister told so tight, and my daughter said, before you leave tomorrow, I will wake up early to help you out get ready. And I had mixed emotions on the video. I was on video throughout that process because in the morning, they woke up very early in the morning. My daughter was there. She said, I have a nanny still, but my daughter wanted to do this. So she made sure the brother showered, dressed up, uniform, whatever. She was taking pictures of him and making sure brush your teeth, take your breakfast. So they were both kind of starting new chapters. My son was joining a new grade. He was joining a new grade, and my daughter was joining high school, a boarding school. And I really assured my daughter, this school is the best. So my daughter prepared the brother. She was so comfortable doing it. They were talking now. They forgot even about me, and I was on video. So she prepared her. She asked the brother, your glasses, wiped the glasses, brushed his shoes. He was all set. So they waited for my dad because the first day he doesn't have to take the school bus. So they waited for my dad. My dad came downstairs. He was ready also. And they were ready to go. So my daughter accompanied my son to school together with my dad. It was so emotional. I stayed on video all through when my son was being admitted. And the last thing, they hugged, and then where my son laughs and tells the sister, please do not eat that leftover pizza in the refrigerator, please. The sister said, I will see. They said, no, don't eat it because I won't be happy if you eat it. Guess what? Dora went ahead and ate that pizza. It was war in the evening, man. When my son came from school, it was just crazy. We had to go get a pizza because of that. And it was just a piece of pizza that my daughter ate. And I warned also my daughter, don't eat that thing because it will be hell. But she didn't listen because she knew she was going away. So my daughter came back home and to prepare because she was to report also to school the same day. So I told my daughter, if it's okay, I hang up the phone. I sleep a bit. Then she said, no, mommy, you have to stay on phone. You just sleep, but stay on phone. So I put my phone on charge. She had her phone on charge because we had previously packed her clothes. I was helping her what to pack. I was telling her we were ticking the list one-on-one. So, normally we have a time difference of sometimes 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours when the time changes during summer. So it's 8 and 9 hours difference. So I stayed on phone throughout when she was getting ready. But I slept a chunk of like maybe 2 hours like this. And my daughter was ready, all dressed up. She had to hang up the phone and then call me so that I wake up. So she was all ready and she looked so nice. She was just mature. And then she told me she's already talked to the father that they're going to pick him up and route to school. And this is when my daughter felt like she did not make the right decision by making his father come to this trip, because the previous day when the dad arrived, he went and drank alcohol. And the very day now when they were going to school, my dad went and picked him up. He was just like coming from a bar, from drinking. But because it's my daughter who had requested, they went to school. So my daughter said the dad really embarrassed her. He was drunk. My daughter told me she felt like crying. She felt embarrassed. She really felt embarrassed because at the dormitory when they were in school, the father kept on sitting on other people's beds. And she's new. She's new. And people were looking at her now because she kept on saying, like, this is my daughter. Now my daughter was embarrassed of the father because she said, I'm not trying to bash him. I'm just putting the words that my daughter said, the way he was dressed. It was not a good sight. And then, the stench, the smell of alcohol. The dad was unkempt. But my dad could not say a thing. My daughter was the one who wanted his father there. But she said his dad kept embarrassing him, sitting on beds and all that. So she said she felt embarrassed. She really, and it was the first day. And she said, my daddy let me down, mommy. He was drunk even the day I was being admitted to school. He was drunk. I didn't say a thing. I just kept quiet. Because now when my dad was about to leave, my daughter started crying. But now I know why. Because at first I didn't understand why my daughter was crying. She was crying because she was embarrassed about the father. Because now she came and told me all this. I really felt it for her. But I could not say a thing because she wanted him there. She wanted him there. So there's nothing I could have told her. So she really cried when my dad was leaving. And she was crying because of what the father had done. And she did not want to, because my dad said when we were leaving, she was not happy. She was sad. And I came to realize that was the reason. But afterwards, she was okay afterwards. And I really kept tabs with the school. And when there's a day, it was her birthday, and I organized with the secretary, and she really did something very sweet for my daughter, like a small surprise birthday. At first, she thought she was in trouble, and she was kind of scared. But afterwards, she was all smiled, and she had her birthday cake. So I've been talking to my daughter as often as I can, even though it's controlled because it's a school. You cannot be talking to her all the time. So there was a day a teacher noticed she was sad. And the teacher asked, what's up? They were getting ready to go for their midterm break, which they go and stay home for like 3 days. So I remember, and she said, my daughter was kind of sad. And the teacher asked, what's up? And she said that everybody's being picked when we're going to go home. Everybody's being picked by their parents, and their mom, their dad. But me, none of my parents will show up. And that really, I really felt it. I really felt it. And she's not handling it well in boarding school still. And I'm really trying my level best to talk to her. There was an incident also. She snapped at school. She really snapped, and she started shouting back. And I thank God for the school because they have guiding and counseling, which the school offers, and that is something I really do appreciate about the school. So, but I know with time, my daughter will be okay. it has not been easy for my daughter. I'm afraid sometimes that anger that she has is not good. This story about the incident about my daughter, I will do it on my 4th episode. How it really transpired, what really happened in school. I knew it's not gonna be easy for her. Like now, the way they're on a break, when kids come back, every child will start talking. Oh, I did this with my mom. Oh, I did this with my dad. Oh, we went here with our family. As much as I normally try and do something with them, but they start missing link. The mom or the dad is not there. That's a missing link. It's not yet complete. But the strength that I have right now and the strength that my children have, it's a bond nobody can break. Y'all, if you like the show, please consider leaving a review. This helps my podcast to grow. Then hit the follow button. And if you have questions, send me an email at achoch@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate you for tuning in and taking time to listen to my story. Please share, follow wherever you're listening to, at any podcast, whether it's iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcast, Podchaser. And thank you for taking this journey with me. I love you dearly. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.